الله أكبر الله أكبر.
A'udhu billah min ash-shaytan ar-rajim. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Hello my dear brothers and sisters. Salamun alaykum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. We discussed in the last session where zakat must be consumed. In this session there is some details left out. We will cover those. First of all, the poor or faqir or miskin person who you would pay your zakat to cannot be one of those people you must pay their life expenses. For example, it cannot be your wife, it cannot be your children, but it can be your neighbor. You don't have to pay life expenses of your neighbor, but it's already obligatory on you to pay life expenses of your wife and your children. So you can't pay zakat to your wife and children. But it's an exception under one of these three circumstances. First, if your wife or your son, other than being a poor person, is in a lot of debts that he or she cannot pay. So it's not a poor situation. It's more because he or she is in a lot of debts. As we say, it's al-ghamirin situation. It's because he or she has a lot of debts. Second situation is when your wife or your son needs religious books, religious studying, and he needs some books. You can pay your zakat to him. And the last one is if your son, for example, wants to get married and doesn't have money, you can pay your zakat to your son so he get married, start a life, through a wedding. In this case, you can pay your zakat to your son. Here's a tip. Here's a point. If someone is studying religious knowledge, or not only religious knowledge, if someone is studying a knowledge or a science even, and if he wouldn't been studying this knowledge, this science, he could make a life for himself. He wouldn't need any help, but he is now, because he is studying and doesn't have a job. But here's the point. This knowledge, this science he's learning, either wajib or mustahab. Either it's obligatory and necessary, or recommended even. In this situation, you can pay zakat to him. You can cover his or her life expenses by zakat, because this knowledge he's learning, this science he's learning, is necessary for society, or necessary for our society. For example, it's a religious knowledge. We must have mujtahids, we must have marja'as in our society. The last point is, when should we pay our zakat? it's different in different categories. For silvers, golds, and livestocks, you have to pay their zakat after your ownership on those objects has been more than 1 year. If you have many camels and a lot of cattle, sheep, golds, and it's been more than 1 year, you must pay their zakat. At least you have to separate the amount you have to pay as zakat, and then your money would be clean. What about cereals? Wheat and barley, you have to pay their zakat after you separate them from their straw. And for raisins and dates, you have to pay their zakat after they dried. So this was the time of paying zakat. And one last point is necessary precaution says you have to pay your zakat immediately after you separate it from other of your wealth. It's just recommended precaution. Recommended precaution. But here's the point. If you lost that money or lost that product, and the blame is on you because you didn't protect that money very well. If this is the case, and you could pay that product or that money sooner to someone, but you didn't, and you didn't protect that money and wealth very well. This is the situation that fuqaha and ulama says you have to pay that money and that product again, and you have to separate that again from your money. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.